Hello, guys. Welcome back to our 15th episode of Cutting Deals. In today's episode, we have my very good client and gambling friend, Jordan.
What's up, guys? What's happening?
Welcome to the show, man.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a car edition episode. So if you guys are into cars, holla at your boy, Jordan.
Yes, sir. Tell us more about yourself, Jordan.
Well, I'm in the car industry. I moved here back in 2009, 2010 from Montreal, born and raised in Montreal. Always just, I felt like I was born under the hood. You know, my father loved cars, always just had me around them growing up. And then I always wanted to be in business, and I love sales. My father taught me a lot about sales, and just follow your passion, and that's what I've done. So that's where I'm at now.
What was your first job?
First job, oh shit. Actually, funny enough, it was an apprentice at a tuner shop.
Oh, sick.
Actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that was like my first official job, but at the age of 12, I'll never forget. Like my father had some serious whips back in the day. Like he hustled hard, he earned it, and you know he spoiled himself. And he told me one day we were washing. The way we would bond is he had like a 3-car. He did drain garage, so we'd wash the cars in the garage, have the music going. And that was like us bonding, right? And I remember one day he told me, he says, you're getting to that age now where you can work. I was like, I think I was 12 at the time.
12 years old.
No, that's how it was. He's like, he's like, I'm the youngest of, I think he said 7 siblings. And like he's like, we used to fight over food, like literally, like they would look. They would have
7 brothers and sisters.
No, that was my father.
Oh, okay.
Right. So he was the youngest. He's like, we used to literally fight over food, and like he's like, I've made this of my life. If you think I'm just gonna hand it to you, like it's not gonna happen.
See, I feel like that's like the best way to like raise kids nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like kids nowadays, it's just like, here's a whip, here's like,
here you go.
Here's a Benzo, and then that's it. That's why like a lot of the kids that we're trying to teach right now, we're trying to teach them a lot of like the things that your dad taught. You know what I'm saying?
Responsibility.
Yeah, like hard work and stuff.
Work. Like not everything's easy, No,
and being an entrepreneur and starting young, but it is. I gotta say, to me, it's a double-edged sword. If you look at it, like step back and generally, like so, if you give your kid too much, it becomes spoiled, right? And he just like becomes like a shithead or whatever. He just, you know what I mean? Oh, can I swear?
Yeah.
So, or like for me, I'm not to say, but I mean, we all make our own decisions and stuff. And for me, it was like, okay, so I want what he's got. And I'm looking at all these rims and cars and convertibles and pool. And I'm like, I want that and I want it now. And, then you see the MTV cribs and all this stuff. And then, so I ended up, the first job that I really did was, he says, you got this garage that I'm not going to give you nothing, but he's like, you can use my garage and you can start a car wash company. You like washing cars? So I went on the computer. He said, I'll help you. We made a flyer. I went door to door, knocking on the door. Hey, Jordan's Car Care.
Well, that was pretty dope.
Oh,
I love that,
dope,
man.
bro.
Yeah.
That's so sick. How old were you when you did this?
11.
Oh, that's
11,
so sick.
half,
See, I didn't have a garage at 11, so
Yeah.
I'll probably do something like that too, though, if I had a garage. Like,
but his dad had something, and he gave him like an opportunity to do it.
yeah, that's sick that you did that as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, but he also taught me, like he's like, you want my help? You want to use my garage? You want to use my products? At the end of the day, after whatever many cars you do, this is what I'm taking back.
Oh,
damn!
You gotta go
Yeah.
toward, no, he says you gotta go towards like your.
So he actually
supply.
made you pay rent and stuff like that?
Well, like supply costs, yeah. They would
Yo,
add
that is so
water,
sick.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he taught
I
me
actually
really.
saw a guy talking about this on TikTok, and like he's like some like billionaire guy, and he said that the way he gives his kids money is through work. Like, let's say even like they do the dishes, right? Okay, once you do the dish, so there's tier on what he does. So basically, if the job is bigger, then he'll pay the kids more in a sense. So they have that in their head where like it's instilled that you have to work for the money and stuff. And let's say if they want to buy shoes for themselves, instead of buying the shoes for the kid, like the kid has to do, let's say, the dishes 10 times or something, or like some things like that, just so they could save up. That's dope. What kind of cars did your dad have?
Oh, well, when I have a picture that I always look back at, because I'm like, that's probably where this sickness started with cars. It's like I'm under the hood of he had a yellow Firebird, with the, like Vin Diesel with the blower and the three, like every time you put the gas, so we had that. And then I have a picture, like I was literally literally in my diapers sitting on the, like, the corner of the hood underneath, and he's got his, his shirt off, he's in his shorts, and and I guess my mom had just popped her head in and said, hey boys, and we both look at it. I've got like this wrench in my hand. And
that's pretty sick, man.
Yeah,
that's actually so dope.
I'll send you guys that pic.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, so
we'll let Lauren edit the whole thing. Just short for the shorts,
But it's funny to say, but like even stuff like that, like pictures, I find like as much as I like, Instagram helps obviously, but I don't post it nearly enough. Like I maybe few a year, but like I've actually, when I've gone to my biggest job interviews, that's helped me take a step forward in this industry, like big leaps I'm talking, was I would literally, like, not just an interview, like I came like prepared, like correct, like with a presentation. And I literally say, like, and at the end of it, even when if I felt we had that rapport, which I usually do, but that's another thing is, my father taught me to sell yourself before anything. Like you have to, before you think of anything, don't think about the commission, don't think about what you're going to sell them, just think about how like selling yourself to them, and not, but in a genuine way, not like don't be fake and shit. So anyway, but yeah, like at the end of my presentations and graphs and stuff, I had like I made like a collage of all the cars that have been around my whole life that I've had a picture just randomly or taken next to, right? So
yeah, bro, even like with everything, like first impression is everything. Like when I first meet somebody, and like even with business, like I could tell, because like especially now, like a lot more people want to do business with us and do all these things, and like just the intentions that they have is not like it's not pure sometimes. Right,
a lot of times,
like you could feel it when someone is in there just for just for the money and like just for the growth, and they see your growth exponentially, and they just want to be a part of the wave because they see that you did it. But before all that things, you didn't matter to them.
Yeah, they didn't see the struggle.
Like they didn't see, like in the beginning, like when they first met us, they're just like, okay, like these guys are just barbers or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like we're growing, like we keep growing, like opening another store and like seeing the barbershops becoming real busy and stuff. And then now more people will be like, yo, I'll give you like 200 grand or 300 grand to open up like 4 stores right away. But I want 50% or like 60% of that.
Remember, I was telling you about this, how like they wanted to like franchise like the barbershop, and me and Leo were just like, man, if you open up like 5 barbershop right now, the quality of it will go down. Exactly. Like, have you guys seen that movie, The Founder, with like McDonald's?
Oh yeah.
The exact same thing happened, right? They opened a bunch of stores that people didn't care about. And then once they opened it, it's just like the founder actually visited all those locations, and he's just like, what the hell are you guys doing? So it doesn't really matter that like, there's like people wanting to do business with you, but it needs to be like for the right cause. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, genuine.
And I think you guys have to have the same vision on like the end goal of what it is.
Yeah,
100%.
Because like some people just wanna, like, they see you as like, okay, this is like a good situation, and I could sit my money on this instead of sitting on the bank whatsoever. But if you don't really care about the whole operation, like that's gonna fail. You know what I mean? Like just because you spend like $1 million on the business doesn't mean it's gonna succeed.
No.
You know what I mean? But a lot of people think just because you have a lot of capital, you could actually turn your business into like amazing, even just franchising or something, right? Just because you're about to franchise doesn't mean that your business is booming. Like look at what happened to like Osmos. Do you remember when Osmos was just like a couple stores, right? And then now you're just like, yo, when's the last time you've been to Osmos? But they have like freaking 10 times a lot more stores.
Yeah, the quality is not the same.
Oh, the quality is terrible.
I've heard,
I used to love Osmos, bro.
I've never been.
Yeah,
I've never been, so I don't know. This is new for me because like a lot of stuff like that you guys have here that we didn't have in Montreal. So for instance, but vice versa, like we had. I'm blown away, surprised why they don't have them here in Ontario. Is Dagwoods. So it's like Subway, but like straight up like fresh. Like you have fresh baguette buns, and they take like the meat and they cut it with a slicer in front of you.
No way.
It's just so fresh, and it's bomb, and it's cheap, and that was our jam, man. But here I was like, where's the Dagwoods? Like, oh, Subway or Quiznos, and
Quiznos is
or Mr. Sub.
Tell us more about like the process of how to become like a car salesman, like with OnVic and all this stuff.
Yeah, well, generally it's pretty straightforward and easygoing for people, but unfortunately my situation was a little different because like I was saying about that double-edged sword, it kind of works in the wrong way when you're too hard on your kids, and then they're like, but I had that hunger that I wanted to, you know, I wanted to get rich now, you know. So I was like, and then I go to high school, or I guess it was like junior high or whatever, middle school, and then you know, you see opportunity.
You didn't go to high school?
No, like middle. What do we call it? From after grade 6, there's 7, 8,
Yeah.
and then high school,
and then 9, right?
yeah.
But we only have 11. We don't have 12.
Oh, say word.
Yeah.
in
So,
Montreal.
Yeah.
so you didn't finish your high school at all?
Well, I finished, but I'm just, my point to that was when I got in grade 7, so out of elementary school, that's when around the time 11, 12 was when I had that conversation with my pops, and then I went grade 7, you know, and you start, you know, you're seeing people doing some stuff, and you know, I saw opportunity, right, and then and to make some money, and but then I guess when you're young, you're wild, you're careless, and you know, I should have listened to my parents when they said, and it's so cliche, but I can't stress enough how important it is to that what you do now affects your future. You know, so you know, anyone listening that's thinking of doing whatever, you know, doing something that's, you know, first of all, nothing's quick and easy. It takes time, it takes hard work, perseverance, and just keeping clean, man. And you know, yeah, because I had to pay for it for a long time. Still am. I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to get somewhere, and I can't, and it's just difficult, you know. So OnVic, usually OnVic license takes a month. Me, it took me 5 years. Over 5 years.
I used to be a lot guy, actually. I don't know if you didn't know this.
No.
Yeah, so I did like I was.
Bro, Leo did all the jobs in the world, man. This guy was like, he used to clean trucks, like inside of the trucks and stuff like that.
I used to clean truck. I used to work for Koala, where like so basically the trucks that we see that sends all the, let's say, the liquid stuff, the chemical stuff, even human waste, all that stuff. I cleaned the inside of that truck. You know, so
like
I did
of the
that
tanks.
one. Yeah, the tanks. I cleaned those. Oh, that shit was the worst.
Oh, thank
Bro,
you.
the funniest story I have is, so I used to work with a guy, and he was my age at the time. At the time, I was, how old at the time? I think I was like 21, 22. And this guy doesn't have a scent in his nose anymore.
Like he can't smell.
Yeah, he can't smell anymore. And the only way he could sense something, if it's something's chemical and something's like, let's say like food grade or anything, is through his mouth. So he'd go like this.
Nice.
He was like a snake. He'd be like, like, you know,
yeah.
He'd be like, so imagine if it's poo-poo times, you know. So he'd be like, oh, this is the poo-poo truck. Damn, like, so, but like, yeah, see that, and then after that, that's when I became. It's true, bro.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
know.
yo, Leo would always tell me about this guy. He's like, man, he looks like he's like, you know, in his 50s, and he's only my age. His face is like this.
Yeah,
like,
and he's like this,
yo.
and he's like this. Meh, meh, meh. Bro, 2 people died in that place. Like a year before I worked there.
Why would you go for
And you're
this
like,
job,
I'll take
bro?
the job. Sign me up.
Bro, I was in a job agency, and then I was
you're
working
just
to a job
taking
agency,
whatever.
and then like the time was good, the hours were good, because the hours was at 6, and I'll finish at 2.
That's how they got you.
You know what I
eh?
mean? And I was like, yo, sick, you know. And I was getting paid $21 at the time, $21 an hour, and like other warehouse jobs was only getting paid what, like $13, $14 at the time.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, after like a couple 2 months, I'm like, yo, I don't want to do this because they made me shave my beard.
What?
Yeah, because like
You have to wear the ventilator
exactly.
mask.
So they try to train me to do the chemicals one, and I was like, yo, I don't want to do the chemicals one. This is where people died. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to do it. And like, they're like,
So,
no.
so
you
what
have to shave
happened
your
with
beard.
those 2 people that died? Like,
So what happened was, and he was Filipino actually, the guy that passed away, and he went inside the tank, and he wasn't wearing the right equipment,
Protective?
like safety stuff, and he inhaled so much chemicals that he passed out. So usually you're supposed to have 2 people working at the truck at the same time,
Yeah.
and the guy that he was working with, I guess, wasn't paying attention, and then he saw that his boy was like dying, I guess. And then they both died because he went to try to save him, and then they both inhaled enough toxins where they both died.
That's sad.
Yeah, but anyways, with the lot shit. So yeah, so
But it's funny. It's funny you say something like that, because when I first moved here from Montreal, I was looking for a job. My father, he's in the sign business, so he's like, I can get you a job. It's not anything like glorious or anything, but you know, maybe get your foot into like my business. I'm like, all right, I'm open. I get, you know, gotta stay active and busy and out of trouble and shit. And it got me a job in a factory where they manufacture the signs as a prepper. So a prepper, what they do is, once the aluminum is all done and molded, then I got to take like I guess a sander, and I would just put a pad on, and it would just grind metal all day, and it's so hot, and then you want you to wear a mask. I'm like, I don't want to wear a mask because then you start breaking out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so yeah, like, but they're like, yo, you're breathing
I've done
aluminum.
that too. I've
dust.
actually done that. I've melted metals before. I used to do radiators. I used to build radiators, and I had to build radiators from scratch. Where there's 8 different lines where we have to take shifts. So we do 2 hours. What's called 2 hours, and then an hour and an hour and an hour, switching 8 rolls.
Yeah.
Right.
See?
And we have to melt metals. You know what I mean? So like I remember, bro, it was so bad. So there was an oven where you have to build the radiators, and you could feel the fire
heat.
coming out when you do it.
Mhm.
See, that's also like I'm so thankful for, because like, bro, the only job I've ever had in my life, it was actually 3 jobs. Like I used to flip burgers, and I became like a supervisor for that, and then I was a server, and then a barber. That's it.
Which burger joint? Quick shout out.
Sashi
No,
burger.
South Street Burger.
Sushi.
Yeah.
Bro, that place is bomb. But
Mhm.
like my point is, like, Leo had to go through all these things,
Yeah.
and then basically told me, yo, like,
Don't do this.
don't do this,
Yeah.
do this instead.
Yeah,
you know?
Luigi got blessed, bro.
Bro,
That's
I got
why
blessed. I
tell him all-
got baby hands, bro.
I tell him all the time, like, you should, like, even
Soft skin,
even
man.
today, we're like, yo, you should just take, like, couple days off and work at a warehouse for 2 days.
Yeah.
Fuck the pay. You
Hell
know what I'm
no.
saying? Just for you to appreciate what you have. Because
Yeah.
sometimes Luigi could be such a soft ass, like,
No, but like I know, I understand, but
Like,
it's just
you-
like when you see like,
he's just super soft sometimes.
bro,
it
when
comes
you
to these
see so
things.
many people in one day, like you get mentally drained.
Oh,
Does
yeah,
that make
for
sense?
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
You know
it
what
does
I'm
make
saying?
sense.
that's why I try to tell my family all the time. It's like they're like, oh, you should be hit. Like when I first moved here and I was at the factory, I was in the best shape ever because I would just factory life in the morning, get off at 3, gym. Right now it's
I
like
was fit as hell too, right, Haji?
right because
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
you have no like talking with people at the end of the day of sales. It's like it's not even physically. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just-
mentally.
yeah,
like
mentally
even
draining,
barbering
yeah.
too. Barbering is a mental game.
It's
for
a
me,
mental game.
yeah.
You know.
Holy, me and Leo used to do like numbers at the other shop, and like we're kind of getting there like here,
Mhm.
but like I would do days where like we'd be hitting like certain numbers, and I just feel so drained.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
And I'd come home and I'd be like, yo, I don't want anyone talking to me. I just want to put on
Yeah.
like a basketball game and just.
Because you're just talking
Just
to people
watch
all
it.
day.
No, I
like,
think right
kinda
now too is
entertain
because
them,
the
right?
responsibility is different. So
Yeah.
like now we're responsible for a lot more people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So like now we have like 9 employees, and then on opening the second store now we're gonna have 14 employees.
Yeah.
Just barbers.
expanding, man.
You
I
know,
like it. I like
yeah.
it.
But like before, like when me and Luigi would be like as a barber, let's say I did 44 haircuts one time in one day, right? Yeah, I did 44 haircuts one time, and I was perfectly fine mentally, whatever. You know,
You're
I was,
probably in the zone.
yeah, I was physically drained 100%. But here, let's say like I do 20, right? On top of everything that's happening, I feel more tired doing that 20 than that
The
40.
Yeah.
Because
of
of
the
all the
mental-
because of all the responsibilities that we have to finish.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
Yo, it's kind of crazy how even like, yo, Jordan's seen our growth. If
Oh,
you think
yeah.
about it, like
Yeah.
you started
Yeah.
coming literally probably like a month in.
I don't
of-
remember many of these.
These guys,
yeah.
right? Because or even these setups, like what it was. Just, I remember there. Patrick,
Oh no, so we had these guys already too, but
They weren't full time.
Yeah, and they weren't full time, and they weren't as booming.
right.
Yeah.
You know, so like you really don't feel the presence of these chairs because it wasn't being used.
Utilized. Yeah.
Now,
use as
now
much.
it's just nonstop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's just like
Which
it's
is
just
good.
It's like a
it's
well-oiled
good. That's what I'm
machine,
saying.
man.
So
It's
that's
so
why
crazy.
it's a blessing that in a span of like a year and like 4 months, like we're capable of opening a second
That's
one.
huge, man.
You know
That's
what I
huge.
mean? Like-
and I gotta say, like I've been, yeah, yes.
You know, I'm freaking, just makes me amp just thinking
good,
about it,
bro.
you know?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, because like just everything that's been happening, like, like
Yeah.
I'm super grateful for, because especially like where we come from and stuff, like my mom being so proud and my older brother, being so proud too. Like it's just being able to take care of the people that's really the most important to you is like the best like blessings
Mhm.
that's ever given.
Yeah, that's the only thing that at the end of the day really matters. So
Mhm.
all this materialistic stuff, and that's why I always constantly tell when I'm with my family, I'm like, this is the moment that matters. Nothing, before, after. I don't want to. My mom's known for going back all the time. Oh, okay, it's done. Water on the bridge now, here,
Mhm.
right? And then the
Exactly.
future, and then if you get too caught up on the future, like, oh, I want this, I want that, you miss on what's happening. Right
Exactly.
Right now,
Like
yeah.
being in the present is a skill.
Huge.
Because like I don't know who told me that. Someone told me that like I think like a couple of years ago, because I was always just on the go. Like I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, making all this loot and stuff, but I never appreciate the presence that I'm in.
Yeah.
But now like every moment, like it's just like I have moments where I remember where I just sit still and I'm just like, man, I'm super grateful that I'm capable of doing certain things. Like even especially at the new shop, right? Like me and Kevin would just sit down and just be like, whoa, man, like we used to just be on our couch, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So like me and Kevin would just be having this talk and we're like, yo, like I can't believe we're doing this and stuff, you know?
That's a great
and like
feeling.
being able to meet like you know, like being able to meet all the clients that we have. You know, obviously, like not all our clients we have the same relationship with, but like we have certain clients where we feel very connected to because of all the goals that we have. Even though we're in different businesses, like I feel like we have like common goals. You know, like just being able to provide is like it's a huge
seeing our
thing.
brothers succeed, and just supporting one another. You
Exactly,
know
because like a lot of people just become envious when they see you moving forward. You know,
Yeah.
because they feel like they're being left behind, and you know, like. Just because you're in the same industry or whatever, like, you know what I mean? For sure you see that in your industry, right?
I just happened to me in a big way. Like even some people that you work with,
That's crazy.
that have been doing it for longer, have a bigger whatever position or whatever, and then they just see you move in a certain way. They're like, whoa, right? And sometimes too much success too quickly. And I remember hearing this once, and it was like, what's worse than hate is envy. Hate is from a distance. Envy is like right next to you.
Exactly.
So that's even worse. You know what I mean? I'd rather hate me all you want from outside, whatever, right? But from internal, and it's happened a few times in through my path to where I am now, where it's like because I don't try not to block or hide or keep anything from people. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm just completely open, right? So it's like I kind of give, maybe sometimes people say too much of myself, but that's what I guess, but I don't expect it in return. It's just like,
me too.
Like
I feel the same way, man. Like I feel like I'm an open book, bro. Like like when I first meet a person, like I would tell them exactly who I am as a person and like my admirations and my dreams and stuff. Not because I'm becoming arrogant or whatever, like, because some people could say, okay, like this is what I want in life. Like I want a Lambo or I want this and this, and then a guy could really just feel like, oh yeah, this guy's arrogant. You know what I mean? Or like this guy is materialistic, or this guy's this and this and this. But like realistically, this is the things that keeps me driven. You know what I mean? Like it keeps my drive going in a sense.
No, having goals is good, and I always believe in manifesting and believing in yourself, and then having a strong support team is important too. But I also believe that you'll get back what you put out there. So and yeah, as far as like people, like so many people are so quick to judge, bro. They see somebody hop out of a Ferrari, and you know what I mean. They think one certain way, and then you see somebody don't even see you if you pull out of something else, right? But and people, this guy in whatever car, like a Prius, could have a lot more things to say than the guy in a Ferrari, and vice versa. So it's like, I always believe that you never judge. I've had enough clients that, other sales guys from, and I want to say which dealers or what, but they'll come to me and they'll say, I went to this one really known big store, and they won't even, I was there for a half hour walking around, nobody would even say hi to me, and then they come to see me and I sell them a $250,000 Porsche.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like, because you actually had the time to
people judge your appearance too heavy, like all the time.
A good example of that is like, have you guys ever been to like Holt's in Square One? Bro, there's a time where Leo, I remember he pulled out like with like shorts, and like we have like a Filipino sandals. They're called chinelas.
Yeah. And I look like a fob,
he
bro.
looks like a fob.
Like I look like a fob, and like I was just in the waiting area, and all the sales associate, because like my boy wanted to buy like some Alexander McQueen's, and I came with him, and I looked like a straight fob.
You were just comfortable.
I was.
Comfortable.
I look like I look like I was basically like, I just look poor as hell, you know what I mean? But like it is what it is. Like people judge, and 3 sales like people comes up to me, is like, can I help you? Like while I'm waiting, like on a chair, I wasn't even moving. You know how they have a waiting area there? I was just chilling there, and I felt like they thought that, like, what are you doing here? Like they thought that I was about to rob them or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, you don't belong here. Why are you here? Type of stuff.
Yeah, you can pick up on those vibes.
You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like they're not teaching that enough nowadays, and you have to be more, or I should say less judgmental now, especially now, because you got kids, crypto, whatever, CEOs, online, guys that are making money online, and they roll around in shorts and sweatshirt. Like, okay, so one of my biggest clients that I just got by fluke. I don't believe in fluke. I think everything happens for a reason. But I was working late, and I always like staying late, because for me it's not even work. I don't consider it work. It's a passion, right? When you love what you do, it's just like I'm having fun doing what I love, right? And I'm getting paid for it. So it's like, trifecta. But so I was there after hours, and I throw my tunes on through this system, and I'm walking back and forth from my computer to the printer, and I see this guy looking in the window, shorts, flip flops, and he's got these two, like a younger daughter and a younger boy, and they're kind of looking in the window. We're closed, and it clearly says we're closed at whatever time, but I was there late. So I unlocked the door and like, oh, sorry, we didn't. I said, no, don't worry, come on in. Like, I know that I just saw the look in the kid's eyes, like he really wanted.
They want to see it,
and
right?
I was like that when
you were a kid,
right? Yeah. So, and this guy, seemed like a nice guy. He said, don't worry, they're well trained. I said, no sweat, though, it's all good. They're walking around, they're actually really respectful, and he's walking around. And anyone else, he walks into any, like you said, one of these Holtz or whatever, different box stores. Like I know, especially like these higher end, like Benz are known for that. There's like this like stigma that the salesmen they don't. Who is this guy? What is he? So they would have looked at him and judged him. And me, I treated him like I do anybody, man.
Yeah, but bro, humility goes such a long way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to show every single human that like, bro, like we're the same. We're people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like with everything. Like every time I do business with people, like let's say if I go to Holtz, right, and I see a person and you could tell this person's just a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I don't want to do shit with this guy. And then I'm going to go make sure he sees that I'm going to spend $10,000 just on clothes just for fun because this guy pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to prove a point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could have gotten this commission, but just because you're judgmental, you lost it. Like there's a lot of people would lose opportunity just because of their ego.
Oh,
you know what
sure.
I mean? Like ego is such a bad thing in all businesses, bro. Especially barbers, bro. Like barbers are the most egotistical people in the world. Like
I've heard.
like it's just super. Like they think that they're the shit, and like just because they're fully booked all the time, like they don't have time for nobody. Like they make their client feel like crap when they ask them for things and stuff. Like you're not gonna be able to eat if you don't have clients, bro.
Yeah. And those are the ones that don't survive. And look at you guys.
You know
what
I
you
mean?
guys
like,
have done in the past, like what, year and a half? Like it's huge. But I could have said I've seen it coming because you guys are just. I gotta say, what you guys are doing is huge.
Thank you, man.
For your community, for the guys, the youths you got with you, working with you, and teaching them, and then even this and everything. It's huge. It's big.
Yeah, this is just fun.
Yeah.
We were just like, Leo was
So-
just like, yo, let's start a podcast. I was like, sure.
No, it's awesome. But this is the way that things are going now, and I love watching podcasts. That's why I
Yeah,
was
it's
on
nice
you
because like
guys.
they get to see more of you outside, like their actual industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though, because they're gonna think that like, oh yeah, I know him as a person and stuff like that, and then they see a different light of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then they can't judge as easy.
Exactly.
Right? Because like, hold on, I know that guy, and then they know the podcast, and then they feel like you see them, and there's like that whole wall or whatever, judgment was broken down.
And that just like that human connection, right?
Yes.
Like like let's say we have the same interests and stuff. Like, see, look, we're talking about cars. I'm pretty sure a lot of people love cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like we're just not talking about us cutting hair all the time, like because like people are like when you're a barber, like you're almost labeled as just you're just a barber.
Yeah, but I'm a gambler too.
You know what I mean?
I'm a poker player, man.
I'm a poker player.
No, but yeah, you talk to so many different people and they can come from like all walks of life. So you kind of get like all sorts of topics that you're going to be talking about.
Exactly.
Which is
throughout
awesome.
the day.
Yeah.
And it's the same in my business too. The characters, and that's why I love the higher end cars. Like I'll sell anything. Like we carry at where I'm at now at MVL in Oakville here. We got anything from like whatever a $10,000 Hyundai all the way up to $1 million Ferrari. So we have everything in between. So, but I love dealing with the high rank. I find there's so many characters. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like even with barbers, right? So I noticed like obviously you see all walks of life, but like my guys that are super high end, they're just. I think the thing that separates the people that are very very like high up there in like society when it comes to like let's say like like their social status and stuff, their drive is insane, bro.
Crazy work ethic, like, huge.
These people do not sleep. You know what I mean? Like there's this guy like his name is Costa and he's super sick, bro. This guy's always just working all the time, freaking taking calls all the time. Even my mentor Kevin, today, like he was up at like 6:30 in the morning, just texting me, "Yo, what it's called. He's like, oh, call me when you wake up.
Yeah.
At like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I call him. Boom, I call him. Whatever. Okay, I'll talk to you in like the next 15 minutes. He calls me again the next 15 minutes. And then, I gotta get this call. Like his phone is blowing up every freaking like almost 10 minutes, bro. Because
Busy guy, man.
he's always in the middle of like meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think this guy has a meeting with the bank like 4 or 5 times a day.
Well, even remember, I think it was his last haircut. He was on the phone. He was speaking English, and he hangs up, and then he calls again, or he gets a call, and then he's speaking Punjabi,
Yeah.
and it's about, and then he says bank. So I guess it's like the exact same thing, you know. So I'm just like, damn,
Yeah.
See,
like, you know.
see, like being around those people that are super high driven and like, you know, like the things that they've done before, like I love learning from them because like,
There's
you know,
a certain
like,
energy, right?
yeah, they have a certain energy, like you said, like the high end people, like their energy are different, you know.
Well, I think the sickest thing too is like I remember, like Jordan, you were talking to me about your mentor and how you would sometimes like go out with him for like a Friday night dinner and just like catch up and stuff like that. I think that's like the sickest thing because you're like showing like homage to like who you are as a person now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I brought one of my first mentors in the business out. Well, I always say I brought him out, but at the end of the day, he won't let me pay. I'm like, dude, I want to pay back somehow. And you know what? He said the most noble thing to me. It was crazy. It was humbling. He I said, what can I do to pay you back? Because I want to show you where I'm at right now. Like I'm getting called on cars that are $3 million, and I was a lot boy for you. I was a wash boy. That's how I started. And he saw some of me and he helped me bring me up the ranks. And actually, when shit got like crazy in my life, like the one time where I was like, I talk rock bottom, the only guy who ever called, none of my friends, not my family, like not my parents were always there, but they knew my situation too closely. But he was the only one that called me. He was like, I was literally like, I remember I was sitting at Tim Hortons. I'm like, yo, this is, if this is rock bottom because I'm you get kind of messed up thoughts, right? But he called me and it was like a godsend. And he says, what are you doing? What happened to the situation? And I told him, no, this and that. He's like, no. He's like, you're gonna start working again. He's like, I got keys to the castle right now, and my first order of business is bring you back. And for me on a resume, I'm like, that's sick. Like I got let go one place to go to another, and then they call me back. That's huge, right? So, but I brought him out for lunch, and or he brought me, I should say, and we talked. And the one thing he told me, he says, listen, I don't want nothing from you except for one day you're gonna do what I did for you.
That's so sick.
That's awesome. Like
See?
pass it down, find someone for you to mentor and pass down this knowledge, right?
Bro, that's exactly like what I feel like I have to do now at this point. You know what I mean? Like especially with the guys that we're teaching and stuff like that, because like a lot of kids, come from certain situations and stuff like that. And I want to be able to tell them to just be like, yo, just because you come from certain situations doesn't mean you can't succeed.
No,
You know what I mean? Because like I was that kid too one time. I was a kid where teachers used to tell me I'm not gonna graduate high school till 25, and like a bunch of a bunch of my friends, like I grew up in Oakville, bro, and you know how Oakville is,
And Leo
like,
was always this tatted, like as a kid.
Yeah.
So he was labeled as something.
Bro, I was always
Yeah.
labeled as a bad kid, and being surrounded by like my friends and like their parents and stuff like that, it made me want to do more because I became exposed to a lot of things. Like,
had good influence.
yeah, I became exposed to like, let's say a nice house, a nice whip, you know what I mean, or like just all these things because like I want to be able to do this for my family. You know what I mean? And now I'm trying to do the same thing for like all these kids. Which is
being selfless is huge, man.
Yeah,
Like
man.
that people, I feel like that's so rare these days. But there's there's no like you can't put a number. It's valuable, man. Like to be able to do that.
people just change up when money is involved. To be honest,
Yeah.
bro.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when money's involved, people just become a bunch of weirdos,
Yep.
Like there's so much money in this world. Like, well, why are you changing up on this?
Yeah.
Like, like it could never be as bad as when I was in the Philippines, bro. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? Like I could do the most messed up things, but I would never be as bad as when I first was born, like the way my parents was,
Yeah.
like they couldn't feed us, bro. Like for 3 days, we didn't sleep, like we didn't eat for 3 days.
Yeah, like so like if you lost everything here in Canada, like it would never be even as
As
bad.
bad as
Nah,
it, like
bro.
the
situation.
Philippines.
Not at all. That's
Man,
why
every time we go back to the Philippines, it always humbles me, because like my mom would tell us stories and then I would just picture like all the things that my mom used to say to us to like the things I'm watching around me in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Like, bro, my mom used to say, I didn't feed you guys for 3 days. So like I would just put you guys to sleep, you know,
Hmm.
just so you guys forget about being hungry.
And imagine how tough that
crazy.
was for her.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
The stuff that they do for us that, and as kids, we don't realize, right?
No,
Until we're older,
not
we're
at
like,
all,
damn,
man.
that must have been tough.
I don't know if you know this, but I met my mom when I was like 9 years old.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But me and my mom are close now, you know.
That's awesome.
But it's because when I got older, I was like, oh shit. The reason why my mom left to another country is because she needed to provide for us, you know? And like, I don't like show any like grudge or anger towards
Yeah,
her.
because you know she was sacrificing.
Yeah.
Because like
But at an early age, I thought, oh shit.
See,
Like,
we
watching
don't know,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Until
Exactly,
later,
but
and you're like,
I think
damn.
when I was like 18, 19, that's when I'm like, oh shit, life is fucking hard, man.
Yeah, bro, it's
Life
super
is
hard, man.
super
Like I
hard.
feel like everyone in Canada is so damn privileged, man. You know,
Yeah.
like we're all so privileged. Like it's like you could get it. You just gotta work, man.
Mhm.
Like
in the right way.
you know, yeah,
yeah,
in the
there's
right
so
way.
many
way, yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah,
here
opportunities
Canada,
in the
man.
right way. Yeah, like let's say like, bro, there's always gonna be a job. Let's say if I was unemployed today, I could work tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
how easy it is to get a job in Canada.
Yeah.
But too many people have certain egos where let's say if they were like a CFO of a company and then their company went under and they try to just get the same job all the time, but you could get a job that's like paying $15 an hour like that if you wanted to, but they just don't have that, you know, that humility of like just going down
Ego.
sometimes. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Ego and
you know, just because you were making $150,000 a year doesn't mean that you're not too good to be making 40,000 a year.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You could always just build yourself up, you know?
Yeah.
No one's invincible, and everyone, like you said, we're all the same. We all bleed the same color. We all sleep. You know, we all eat. It's all, you know. So
Except my wiener is a little smaller than yours. Maybe.
Okay, Jordan, random question. Has anyone ever tried to buy a car with crypto?
I sold a 2021 Porsche 911 Turbo S from an email that I got at 3 a.m. from a returning customer, which I never checked my emails on a Sunday morning. But I was like, I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't like having the red numbers on my email.
Mm.
Like if I go to somebody and say, let me see your phone, let me see your email. If they see if there's a bunch of red, I'm like, bro, you gotta be on top of your stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't use email
oh, Jake,
like at all.
But yeah, in his field, like
for your
it's-
bookings, I
yeah.
book it by email all the time. But no, like I got the email to check. He's like, "Yo, I got this car. I see you guys use, I accept crypto. I know the brokerage you use. I know the guy." So I call him. I'm like, first of all, 3 a.m. He must have been partying. Something, you know what I mean? Like, what is
Imagine he's at
What
the
kind of
club. just-
decisions he's
What kind of car was?
making,
What kind of car was it?
It's a Porsche 911. It was 360 grand.
Holy crap! He's just like, yo, he's popping
that's
bottles.
Bro, that's
3
Costa's
a.m.
car.
Yeah, that's Costa's
911.
car. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no,
So
keep
so
going
he
against this.
so he I remember him because I remember dealing with him, and he was a guy that actually started one of the companies that started blockchain technology out in the UK. And when I sold him his first car, which was the AMG GT 63 4-door, he called me from Ottawa. He started haggling with me. I was like, okay, well, listen, this and that, winter tires, blah, blah. He's okay, but I want it today. I'm like,
But he's
bro,
in
it's-
Ottawa.
yeah. He's like, I'm gonna fly in. I was like, I need you. I'm like, I'll take an Uber. I said, no, I'll pick you up. He's like, yeah, because we're gonna stop at the bank, and I'm gonna get you. I said, I can't take crypto, so he said, just don't worry, I'll get a draft done. I sat waiting for him outside the parking lot at the plaza somewhere here at the RBC for so long. He's like, bro, can you imagine? It's like, I earned this stuff, and they're giving me a hard time to get it. But I finally got it. So
like
anyway,
he
I
has
knew
the money, but it's like they're giving him a hard time.
So I knew this guy.
That's
I knew this
How
guy
much was the
moved
bank
fast.
draft?
For that car at the time, it was like 210, 220, something like that.
Holy.
Damn.
Yeah, I bet you they're asking them all these questions like, are you being robbed or being this and
Yeah.
stuff?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's been happening to me a lot lately, man. When it comes to like, I go to the bank and they're like this, is anyone trying to sell you crypto and stuff? I'm like, no, man.
it's because
Give
there's
me my
lots
money.
of frauds
You know what
going
I'm
on.
saying? Like,
bro.
it's chasing me, bro. I'm like, why is it me all the time? Like, just give me the loot. I'm trying to get out of here. I don't got time for this shit, bro.
Well, people wonder why these banks are falling apart left, right, and center. It's like they don't want to take your cash, and they don't want to give you your money.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? You just want to like,
Bro, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But I noticed the difference though. Like ever since like let's say we became a business owners, like the way the bank treats me is so different compared to like when I was, like when I was just starting out whatsoever, like the way the bank treats me is just now like, yo, open hand, come over here, baby.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that we like
But
that
wait,
interest.
finish your story, man. I want to hear this.
So,
man.
so I know, yeah. So I know the guy moves fast, right? So I ended up emailing him. Then I called him, And then he was like, I'm in Oakville. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like he was come visiting. He's like, yeah, it's Sunday. You guys are closed. Like, don't worry, I got the keys. I live 2 seconds. And that's another thing I find is key is living close to where you work.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
It's an underrated thing, man.
Yeah,
I don't touch the
underrated.
highway.
Yeah.
I get 2 stoplights and I'm there 3 minutes door to door. That's huge. And I got the keys. So
When clients tell me that they drive like an hour and a half for their work, I'm just like, bro, you taking it out, that's 3 hours a day
In your car, bro.
in your car, and then do the math in 365 days. I bet you it's like 40 days
It's
you're in your
a lot
car.
of hours
So
in your car.
when I started as a
Yeah.
wash boy
Mm.
and I was given the opportunity at Humberview Motorsports, shout them out.
Mhm.
I was living in Ancaster at the time, and they were out by Sherway Gardens
Damn.
on the East Mall.
Mm.
So I used to drive that every day
Like from Oakville?
from Ancaster.
Ancaster, bro.
Ancaster to
Damn.
Sherway.
Bro, that's like a 2 hour thing.
As a wash boy making what, $11 an hour, but I saw the opportunity. I'm like, I get my foot in the door here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push it wide open,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. I impressed Mike, who was my mentor.
Mm.
Shout out to Mike Sultani. He's they call him the James Bond of the car industry. He's amazing.
Oh,
But he taught me
sick,
everything
bro.
I
That's
wanted to
sick,
know.
bro.
And my second mentor, Mike, another Mike. So it was always Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? I thought it was so crazy.
Yeah, right.
It was nuts, right?
Meant for greatness, bro.
So, but back to that story. So, anyways, I haul him up. He says, I should man him at the dealership at like 5 or 6 p.m. on a Sunday. Which that's the other thing. These other dealerships like Mercedes and whatever, these box store, ego guys, they're like, oh, sorry, I don't work Sundays. My phone's
work
off.
closed.
It's like,
Oh, that's not like
nah,
us too,
man,
bro.
my phone's always
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. Me and Luigi talk
Open
about this all the
7
time.
days a week. You're the one that mentioned it. You're like,
Yeah.
yo, you guys are the only barbershop open
Huge.
7 days a week. Hell yeah,
and I'm
cuz.
a Sunday client.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
I
bro.
find that crazy that some people, anyways, but that's a different. So I went there, met him, bro. He came in, gave him a quick tour, showed him the car. He looked at it. Yeah, looks pretty good. The car was pretty much brand new, anyways. It had like 1,100 kilometers. Sits in it for literally not even 2 minutes. And he's like, and he looks at his girl he's with. What do you think? Yeah, it's nice. Okay, I'll take it. And he goes like this on his phone. He's like, boom. He's like, you'll have the money in your account tomorrow. You'll have the crypto done.
Damn.
I'm like, he's like, but I got to drive back with me. I'm like, okay, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's done. Yeah.
Say
So is it like
word.
any like different paperworks or anything like that? Like
No, that was like the most straightforward easy ever. Like it was just like, I think barely even a bill of sale. Like here's the bill of sale, paid crypto, boom. Like it was done.
That's
Damn.
crazy.
Say
How
word.
360 grand plus tax. Yeah, it was nuts.
many Bitcoin is that?
Yeah.
Well, to him, it was like, I'm sure a drop because I remember when I sold him the first car, my manager at the time, he looked him up, my leasing manager, and he's like, if I'm doing the math correctly from what this guy owns in shares and what it's worth now, and this, like, it's crazy. So it's a drop in the, but
So he didn't even drive the car or anything before he paid for it.
well, now, for
or
me,
do like people even really do that when
we
they
don't,
want to buy the cars?
I don't do that
Yeah.
right now or really ever with these higher end stuff. Like, basically when somebody, and you can that helps actually filter out a lot of people too, because like people
Yeah.
come like, oh, I want to drive this Lambo. It's like, yeah, go to Lambo and see if they'll let you drive it.
Right.
You think I'm gonna throw you the keys that easy, like Lambo?
Oh yeah,
won't?
for sure.
Yeah.
Because like the liability is huge, bro. When it
Oh,
comes
yeah,
to that
sure.
stuff,
Exactly. Yeah, insurance is too much here,
Yeah,
especially in this
bro.
province.
Mm-hmm.
So so what I end up doing, and I have you learn these kind of these I guess you can call it sayings or like a sentence that I go, listen, we don't do test drives. It's company policy. However, if we do a deal and numbers look good, we can do a deal subject to a final drive.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at that point, and I've rarely ever had it. I've only had it, I think, a handful of times where guys like, yeah, I don't see me, owning this car because it didn't drive the way I was expecting it to. Right? Rarely. I had actually, that's the funny story how I got my car. The guy, I actually, that was a crazy situation because everyone in the country seemed to want this car. I think it was priced right and manual is rare. So
What car is it?
it was Aston Martin 2007 Aston Martin Vantage V8 stick.
Jeez.
And yeah, so we were all getting leads. I was getting email leads, and I work with 3 other sales guys and the owners they sell to. So I was like, fuck, we get tons of email leads, and then I got the phone call lead because that's the other thing. Like to get like phone calls and walk-ins, you got to be like whoever's there usually first. And I'm, me, I get there at like 5:45 in the morning sometimes.
Yep. Early bird gets the worm,
Damn,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
So you start work at 6 in the morning every day?
not every day. Like I try. I was like, it's all about routine, right? Because then you get home, you're zonked, but then you want to play poker.
Yeah.
At like 2 a.m.
You guys,
Yeah.
you guys go bananas on poker, bro.
Might as well pull all nighter,
Right.
right? So, but no, it's so I end up, and then I remember I was trying to get this guy in, and I've worked him for the whole like day, and then nobody sold the first day. But the second day, he was on his way in, but then some other guy came in, and another sales guy was dealing with him, showing him the car. I'm calling this guy freaking out. I'm like, where are you? You're supposed to be here. He's like, I'm on my way. I just had to get my kid. And I hear the kid crying in the back and his wife. And I'm on a Zoom call with my company. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, well, there's a guy by the car. So I'm telling you, like I'm going to meet you. Like, I'm going to get the bill of sale done and the email ready. And I'm going to meet you out front in the parking lot with the machine. And I literally, like, I'm like, I'm not going to show you the car unless you put a deposit. Like, so you sure want the car? Yeah, okay. He as soon as he parked, he ran to the front door. I met him, took the deposit, sent the email. The guy was in the office of the sales guy, and I just hear, what the fuck? Like, he just yelled, what? And he's like, give me 1 second. He came out and was like, are you serious? Are you serious, bro? Like, and I'm like, yeah, man, sorry. I've been working the guy for like a day and a half. Like, you know, he wanted it, you take it. So tell the guy.
So you guys were basically like racing to like sell who could sell this car
it's,
first.
it's like
right?
that, man. It's like that. Like I saw it happen when I first got there. Like, people will see one sales guy with a customer and they can tell that he's on a certain car. And if you've been working a lead on that car for whatever it be, a couple of days or a week, you got to tell the customer, listen, this is like do or die, like act now. If you're even thinking about it, do it. And I tell them, listen, put the deposit, we'll lock it down 48 hours, 72 hours max. But you know, if you wake up tomorrow and you say, what have I done? We give your money back. We refund your deposit. We're not in the business of holding money.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my clients. But you know, so you always, sometimes they need that little nudge. I'm not a hard close kind of sales guy. I'm like the most easygoing guy. Like, I'll show a Lambo to a guy, like, yeah, let me know, what do you think, whatever. And then sometimes you'll hear from them the next day. Sometimes you never hear from them. One time I had a couple, same thing, going about like trying not to judge people. They came in, you know, sweatshirts, sweats, whatever, you know, flip flops, whatever, and just, you know, they look like just, you know, whatever, normal couple. But I can tell the other sales guys, they would kind of, especially if I like a box store, they judge, right? I show them, they were like, oh, we wanted to see you guys got this Ferrari. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll show it to them, this and that. And then he started talking to me about his Ferrari, and I'm like, okay, so I'm listening, okay. And because sometimes though too, when people use that as a tactic to try to feel more comfortable when they don't, but they'll say they do or whatever. No, but so I kind of grain of salt. I always say, take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not gonna bank on one thing or not believe one another. I always just take a little, okay. And then sure enough, okay, well, we were here visiting, we'll let you know. No problem, here you go, here's a quote, blah, blah, blah. I don't hear nothing for like 2 months. And then sure enough, then I get an email and they're saying, hey, we were considering, and now the luxury tax is coming. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about the luxury tax.
No, the luxury tax. So that's
for the $100,000 cars. Right?
That's the dumbest thing ever, to be honest.
Yeah, as if they don't get enough for
Stupid.
So anything over 100 grand, between 100 and 200, any overage from the 100 is 20%. So let's say 150, right? It's 20% of 50 grand.
Oh, I thought it was only 10.
No, that's after 200. So anything over 200 is just flat 10% of the whole price.
God, bro.
Yeah. So they're looking at a car that's 375 grand. Now add 10%.
Yeah.
Talking about 40 grand almost.
Yeah, 40 bands for no reason.
So they're freaking out and like, well, because already they're paying heavy tax out west. They're from, I think, Calgary or Manitoba or something. And they're freaking out. They're like, well, you know, what about this luxury tax? I'm like, well, listen, I don't want to speculate. So I don't want to say it's going to happen and it doesn't. I don't want to say it's not going to happen and it does. Now, I believe that other opportunist salesmen would say, yeah, no, it's going to happen. You better buy it now, you know, but I had a feeling, I'm like, you know what, the government, I said that they'll make a decision whenever they want and they're able to do it whenever they want. So I'm not going to say one way or another. Sure enough, they ended up saying, you know what, we don't want to take the risk. They bought the car and the luxury tax didn't even happen. They postponed it. They went from January. They said it was going to happen. They said, oh, we meant June. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, but they bought it, but they were able enough to see that I'm not an opportunist. I'm not going to lie. That's the other thing. I feel like a lot of sales guys, you know, you ask them a question. If they don't know, they'll try to finesse some kind of answer. Me, I'll just say, you know what? I don't know, but let's find out. And I pull out my phone. Yeah, this is the weight of that car.
I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know anything, but we can find out together.
Exactly. I'm just a listener at this point now too. Like, you know, because a lot of people are just a bunch of scammers, bro. You know, like I just listen to what people are saying. You know what I mean? Instead of me like saying something first, type of stuff. Like the way I'm gonna respond to you is based on what I'm hearing. You understand what I'm saying? 100%. You know, because some people just try to big up themselves all the time. You know, for the wrong reasons. You know. And
actually, they end up looking worse than they.
Exactly.
You know, and that's another thing. I learned a lot from my father with sales. The first thing was sell yourself, and the other one was. He says, not to sound one way or another with car sales guys, but he says, you know, there's a difference between a used car pusher and a new car sales professional.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you'll notice one guy, you go to look at a used car, whatever, he'll talk your ear off, say about this and that. Yeah, you won't even he'll tell you stuff you won't even want to know or care to know.
Yeah.
But you go to a professional sales and that's in any business, they'll listen.
Mm-hmm.
They'll only say what as an answer. They'll wait for you to say. So a lot of times, like on my bigger deals, like some Lambos and Ferraris, I remember I hear this in my head. I think of that my father saying that. I just shut up because I love talking with people too.
Yeah.
And obviously rambling on but I put my hands and I listen.
Exactly.
I don't
That's the
say
best
nothing.
way. Just listen. Ask the would you rather question, doggy.
All right. Okay. So since you're from Montreal, would you rather live in Montreal or in Toronto?
Oh, right now?
Yeah, or like which city do you prefer?
Oh man, that's not fair. No, there's two different ways I look at different cities. So Montreal, there's a lot of culture. There's a lot of like family orientation. They call it la joie de vivre. They like to enjoy life.
You speak fluent French, obviously.
Yeah.
Say
We
word,
don't know
that's it.
French, but
We don't know French.
That sounded cool.
No, but
that's kind of
the
crazy.
joy of life essentially is what it is. And for instance, like dealerships, last time I checked, in Montreal, they're closed during the week at 6 and they're not open weekends. Here it's like 9 p.m. Let's see if we can get them to stay till 10 or 11. Oh, Sundays. You guys have Sundays off? No, we're going to open up a Chrysler dealership on a Sunday. That's when everybody's going to buy. It's crazy. Like, I feel like there people enjoy life and have family. And even like when you go out and you're talking to chicks and you pick up, as long as you show them a good time, make them laugh, smile, they'll come home with you. They'll come party, whatever. Here, it's like, you're not a ball player. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
what are you drinking?
Bro, this is why Jordan is there. We gotta go to Montreal. I said, sure.
So much every time.
Oh, bro, Toronto is just so.
Bro, I hate Toronto. You know what? I hate Toronto.
It's so egotistical.
Toronto is like Toronto has nice places like with food, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But after the food, when you go out, it's just like, yo, what is this?
It's just super egotistical.
Like
now at this
I
point,
get it
you know?
because like I went to Montreal. I was young when I first went to Montreal, but everyone was so friendly.
Yeah.
Like people are saying like, oh, if you don't speak French, like Montreal people are assholes. I'm like, yeah, but like
You'll
when you
get that
go
in
out,
certain
it's
areas,
lit.
not, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But no, they start you off young for sure in Montreal. But here, so the way I look at Toronto, though, if I can, in a nutshell, from here, I look at it like, well, the way my parents sold it to me when they were moving here, and at that point, they're like, you need to come or not, but you got to get away from. Montreal becomes a small city very fast, especially with the wrong crowd.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And like you can stay, but we don't know how long. If but then they said if you come, it's like it's the LA or New York City of Canada, and then there's a lot of opportunity. If you make it there, you make it anywhere. New York stuff. And the way I look at it is, it literally was. I took it like that. Like if I'm gonna go from Ancaster to Sherway Gardens every day as a wash boy, it's like cement, concrete walls. That's all it is. Like focus. And game time. Like go nonstop. Do stuff
like
that people aren't ready to
tunnel
do.
vision, baby.
Yeah, man.
That's what it is.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to our 15th episode with Jordan, and Jordan's gonna link you guys on how you can reach him. And
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I got a personal and a business Instagram. My personal is just called Jordo. That's because the best way to reach me is just by phone call, man. 905-379-3344. Just give me a call, and I can get so much more done on a phone call than an email or text. And then my business one is Jordan.mvl Leasing Ltd.
if you guys ever need a Ferrari, shout out
your
to my
guy.
boy.
Yes,
Any
sir.
car.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
All right.